There is no planet, sun, or star that could hold you if you really knew what you are.
Hi, my name's Juliet Vorster. Welcome to another episode of JVTV. And whoever you are, wherever you are welcome here. In these few moments that we have together, I just want to share an insight really that I've had recently. One of the things that I recognize is that we experience life in the same way that we show up. And I've had a particularly useful exercise in understanding that recently, and it's become very clear to me specifically today, which is why I'm inspired to bring you this particular video on this particular day. Some months ago, about 6 months ago, I found a stray cat. I called her Snowball. She's completely white. She's very beautiful and she's very regal, as some cats, have a certain look about them, and she definitely has that look. And she was in a terrible state when we first found her. She was very, very thin. She was quite hungry. She was filthy for a white, we knew she was white, but only just because she was absolutely filthy. So she came home, and I already have a white cat living in the house. His name is Monty, and I got him because he didn't like other cats. And so here I am bringing a new cat into the house. It was always going to be difficult. So for ages we separated the house into two. I have an easy place in my kitchen door I can do that. So we had the one cat just in the kitchen and the dining room, and Monty had the rest of the house. And over the time that has kind of become integrated. But the thing that I've really noticed, the new one that came into the house is called Snowball. And because she'd clearly been living rough for a very long time, she'd been out in the wild and had to fend for herself, and consequently has created quite a defensive personality. And this may be relevant to you. This may be an insight, an aha moment where you can really understand that how you show up is what's creating your life experience. So if you constantly find that you're in a situation where you feel a little bit under pressure or under attack, this is an opportunity for you to just tune in with yourself and just check in to go, well, how am I showing up? Because what I've seen with Snowball is because she's so defensive, because she's constantly expecting to be attacked, she often finds herself in war situations. Her and Monty constantly are in a difficult situation. She can't go past him without hissing, which it doesn't really work because Monty's deaf. But she's always got to have an opinion. She's always got to kind of have the first word, and then will rush past him. And sometimes he's just like, yeah, whatever. And other times, because she rushes by, he'll then go into stalk mode and he will chase her. And today, as you can see, I have the war wounds to prove it. Today, she'd been out in the garden and got a coat full of burrs and all sorts of seeds and stuff. And so I had her, and I was just taking those out for her. And, she was giving me plenty of warning growls, and I pinned her down just really gently to pull out all these different burrs from her coat. But as soon as I let her go, because she thought she was under attack, because she thought I was doing something bad to her, she went for me. And as I say, I have the blood injury to prove it. And I'm as much responsible for that because I didn't push her out in a direction when I let her go. I was still too close to her, and so she's going to attack. But the parable there, the metaphor for life, really has struck me, and it's become more obvious with her behaviour. We have another stray cat living in the garden. It's like Noah's Ark here. And even with him, she's equally defensive and therefore aggressive. And it's really just because, she's constantly on that defensive approach. So I know that I have lived my life in that place. I know that I have been, at points in my life, very fearful and very defensive, and consequently I've showed up, and that's been the experience. I felt like I've been under attack. I felt like there's been something that's kind of been getting at me in some way. But when we come to recognize that what we're putting out, we're constantly getting back, and a lot of that's happening subconsciously, then it just brings that awareness up for us. So don't be a snowball. Really take a moment to consider for yourself, how are you showing up? Particularly if you're going into a situation that's already pressing your buttons, it's already going to be a little bit challenging. Perhaps it's a work situation or a domestic issue that you're trying to resolve, or something in the family. Because what we know about families is that they're the ones that are closest to us and are most able to press our buttons. So if you have that opportunity, just check in with yourself. Just tune in and ask yourself, how am I showing up here? And if you are feeling a little bit under attack, if you are recognizing that there's some defensiveness showing up there, just take a breath, take a moment. Know that you are okay. Know that you're safe. Know that it's okay for you to be who you are, and that you're not under any kind of threat. that you are just showing up, and the more you can be anchored in knowing who you are, then the easier life becomes. And the less we show up expecting to have a fight, the less likely we are to actually have a fight. In whatever way, that might be something that's very subtle in a working environment, or it might be a full-on row with your spousal unit when you get home. But when we don't gear up toward that, when we don't constantly reaffirm that for ourselves, then we're less likely to experience it. So I really invite you to take this advice from Snowball, to really recognize that you don't need to be defensive. And if you are, that's going to cause other people to react to you in the way that they sense and they see you behaving. So my invitation is take a breath, tune in with yourself, just check in with what's going on for you. Check in with what it is that you're really afraid of, and then do what you know to do to rationalize and rectify that, so that you can then move on and show up as the authentic you, the you that knows that you're safe, the you that knows who you are is okay. So hopefully that's useful for you. Snowball is available for rehoming for anybody who doesn't mind blood injuries, and I look forward to connecting with you next time. Love and blessings.
There is no planet, sun, or star that could hold you if you really knew what you are.